Hello everybody, BMR here today with a meta report just prior to the final RAGE tournament and final Shadowverse Open of Shadowverse 1. So today we'll be covering the top tier decks that you're likely to see within these tournaments. So first of all, we've got Wrathblood. This deck is extremely popular and strong. It's won a lot of tournaments. Mainly its objective is to reach 7 self-damage and then basically burn the opponent while healing itself up. It's very potent in what it does, and it has a great position in many lineups because it doesn't have too many bad matchups. I would say its bad matchups are generally Natural Sword and Atlantic Forest, and then apart from that, it has a varied matchup spread, but generally only slightly disadvantageous or advantageous, right? So that's why it's still a very powerful consideration in the current meta. However, its popularity has decreased a bit because of Milnard Blood, also known as Under 10 Blood. So basically what this deck does is it's aiming to mill itself. Then once it reaches 10 or under, it can use cards like Lawful Evil to protect itself, and then also it can OTK using Milnard for 2 play points each for 7 damage storms. So the OTKs are either double Milnard plus the 3 damage leader effect plus the 1 damage ping of some kind. Alternatively, they can use Case Cracked to get rid of the wards. It really just depends on the setup that they want to go for. They're very good against decks that can be board locked, for example, Amulet Haven, Artifact Portal. These are decks that are not particularly great into Milnard Blood, so it's definitely something that we're going to see a lot of. We are already seeing a lot of it, and that's why it's a tier 1 deck. In terms of Artifact Portal, so this deck got a lot more popular after people popularized a new build of it, so they run the Homunculus' Descent instead of the Laser. So essentially, this deck is very consistent in terms of being able to reach Agile, drawing a lot of cards, clearing board, putting Rhinos into deck to do 3 damage pings, Radiant Artifacts to do 4 damage pings, and then eventually dying for the 10 damage finisher. Also, Post-Apocalyptic Girls is very, very strong in terms of protecting the face, so it's very useful against Wrathblood and Dragon in particular. So Artifact Portal is something that we've seen a lot of across all forms of tournaments, and it's very likely we'll see them at the RAGE and also the Shadowverse Open. The next deck is Amulet Haven. So Amulet Haven was probably the deck to beat at the start of the mini expansion. It is a very, very strong deck, but what you'll notice is that pretty much every other deck in Tier 1, they are only in Tier 1 because they can play against Amulet Haven. So Amulet Haven's got a target in this back. But some people will choose not to play Amulet Haven because of that, but it's still fundamentally strong. And also, it does have turn 6 and turn 7 OTKs, regardless of the opponent's deck. So yeah, Amulet Haven is still great. I think we will see this in tournaments of all kinds. And then finally, we've got Machina Rune. So I've just put out a guide for this, or it will be up soon. Basically, Machina Rune is a very strong deck. I don't know why it's not that popular. I think it's because people just don't know how to play it. But that will be rectified soon, I hope, with the guide that I'm putting out, obviously. So this deck, it aims for a turn 6, turn 7 OTK. It's good against pretty much every deck here except for Milnard Blood. So yeah, I definitely expect to see a lot of Machina Rune at the RAGE. I don't know about the Shadowverse Open, but RAGE for sure. In terms of tier 2 decks, so basically these decks, you're not going to see many of them, but you might see 1 or 2. So Ramp Dragon, of course, Big Dragon. It does have a few unfavorable matchups in tier 1, but it's unstoppable when you get the right ramp. Atlantic Forest has a good matchup in stuff like Wrathblood and Artifact Portal in particular, but that's a bad one to Amulet Haven. And you've got a really similar story for Natural Sword. I don't know if we'll see much of this, to be honest, especially because a lot of the people that qualified weren't even playing these decks, but we'll have to see. In terms of the other decks, we might see a little bit more of. We might see Last Word Shadow in the 3-deck 0-bound format. Machina Shadow is another call-out. So basically, we don't see this at all in the Japanese meta, but it was sort of popular in the Shadowverse Open in the 3-deck 1-bound format, so it'll be interesting to see if this sees any play. And Evolve Haven, despite being a ladder menace, is not a very good deck overall, especially into the current top-tier meta. Basically, every deck has some form of counterplay to it, and Aegis is surprisingly not that good at closing the game. So I think that's pretty much all you need to consider in terms of the current meta. I don't think it will change very much over the coming week. Hopefully this will help you guys out in terms of your ladder grinding as well. And also, just before I forget, make sure to like and subscribe. There'll be more content in the future. And I'll see you guys next time, maybe in Worlds Beyond.